Hi, everyone. Thanks for a great week. I'm really learning a lot, especially from looking at my peers' work, especially the people more experienced at programming. So I really appreciate that part of the class. I think one of the hardest things this week was just getting OBS to work a bit better. I'm still finding it pretty laggy. Even when I listen to other people's videos, they tend to be somewhat laggy. So I think maybe it's just a general challenge of OBS, and I did some Googling and changed some settings. So hopefully it will be a bit better now. And I think I'm also just learning how to use it better. And so let's go look at my code. So in building this website, I tried to think more about just practicing the HTML that I was interested in learning rather than worrying too much about the finished product. Because when I got too bogged down in the aesthetics, I found myself spending too much time on things like images and which stories I link to, which obviously I could just easily change out later, so they're not really important right now. Another thing I learned from looking at other people's projects was that I should think even more clearly about the page as sort of a series of horizontal spaces and what I want to do with each of those spaces. I did wind up doing that a bit, but I think I could have been more organized from the beginning, and that would have helped my process. So some things I did do are one of the things that I really learned for the mini project was how to put in a jump link, so you can click on one of these and have it go to a different part of the page, which was cool. I used some code. I started with some code from W3 Schools, which I think other people used as well. You can see that, some of that here. Basically, I made a list for my nav bar and I put in anchors with IDs in the href, and then you put another anchor with the same ID at the place where you want the page to jump when people select the navigation button. So it was pretty simple once I figured it out, and I was happy that I could get that to work. I also repurposed some of the code from the Tinker. I really liked the idea of using the gallery as a place to showcase my past work. So I changed the CSS a bit, which we can take a look at up here. I just sort of changed where the text would appear in comparison to the image, and I changed, I got rid of the padding, and I put in links to the stories where they're hosted in different places. And I really liked how that turned out. And then I did some more practice with lists. I put in lists of some of my favorite restaurants. And obviously these could link out, but I had plenty of practice with that, so I decided not to spend time on it this week. And then I embedded my Instagram feed, which you can see here. And that was pretty easy, actually. You just, Instagram really gives you most of the code, and I just needed to find this one part, max width, so I could adjust the image to be a size that would not take over my whole website because the default image is very large. So once I found that, it was very simple. And then I also added, I made a Google form. Here. And I added a button where you can click on it and will take you over to the Google Forms. You could add your email address to sign up for a theoretical newsletter. I do not actually have a newsletter. I looked into whether I could make it so people could just input their information right on the website and it would just load the information onto a Google form, but it looked like you couldn't do that without using some JavaScript. So maybe we'll figure that out, how to do that in the next couple of weeks. One of the things that I could not figure out was how to get my navigation bar to stretch across the whole screen. So if you change the size of the screen, move this over, you will see that it does not stretch. So I'm hoping from looking at other people's websites and maybe just maybe from doing the bootstrapping exercises on Free Code Camp, which I'm hoping to do today. That I will figure out how I can do that, because obviously I would like it better if that navigation was across the whole screen, no matter what size the screen was. I also actually wound up working on this website in Plunker, there are some differences between JS Fiddle and Plunker. And while this isn't JS Fiddle, I do recommend that people take a look at Plunker for their projects, because I actually think there are some things that make it easier to debug. And just there are some nice aspects of working on Plunker versus JS Fiddle that I liked, and people might want to check it out and see which one they prefer for the things where we don't need to code together. So that is basically it. I feel like I learned a ton from this project, and I am really looking forward to next week.